What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. It's time for another episode of the Never Seen It series where I give you my thoughts and opinions about movies that I've never seen before in my entire life. Do I love them? Do I hate them? But most importantly, do I recommend them to you? Now, last month, the movie watching theme was 80s and 90s nostalgia, and I love both of those decades. So, all of the movies that I pulled, I was really looking forward to watching. Now, I do have good news. There is no movie in this pile that I absolutely hated, which is very rare. There's usually one or two in the stack that I just did not like, I could not stand, it didn't make sense to me. I did not have that experience with my nostalgia films. Part and reason why the 80s and 90s movies are just so good. But there are a couple of films towards the bottom that I didn't really click with, and I think one of them is going to surprise you. But I am going to start with, of course, with the movie I love the most, and it is Girls Just Wanna Have Fun. This movie represents everything about the 80s as to why that decade was just so fantastic for movies. The plot line of this film is so simple and so basic, and that is the brilliancy of this film. All Sarah Jessica Parker wants to do is to audition to be on a TV show. She wants to dance. She wants to be a dancer on a local television program, and that's it. That's it. That's all the movie is about. The entire plot line. She meets a guy at the audition. They decide to team up. They partner up together. They're going to, dance together for the final auditions. It's just so basic and so simple. I absolutely loved it. You have Helen Hunt as her high school best friend. Also, Shannon Doherty is in the movie as well. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. This is why 80s films are a comfort to me, because you can just, put this in randomly on an afternoon if you're feeling a little stressed out, cuddle up with a blanket, and you're just transported back to that time period. And I loved it. Absolutely loved it. So if you have not seen Girls Just Want to Have Fun, I recommend that you do, especially if you love the 80s as much as I do. So loved it. Love, love, love. I can tell you right now, that movie is going to go into like my 80s rotation with like Breakfast Club and Fast Times at Ridgemont High and Pretty in Pink. It's joining the club, the 80s club, which is always good. All right, next up, we have the 4K of War Games. So I wasn't really sure how I was going to react to this movie because I don't know, movies like this don't really hold my attention all that much, but I decided now was the perfect time to watch War Games. I've had this 4K in my Never Seen It pile. It seems like 2 years or something. So we put it in. It's one of my mom's favorite films of all time. She's always loved War Games. She's always wanted me to watch this movie. And I think what factor about this movie really held my attention was the fact that we're dealing with teenagers that are the hackers. If you haven't seen War Games, Matthew Broderick, who is in high school in the movie, hacks into like a military secret system. And Ali Sheedy kind of plays his not really girlfriend, but kind of like, kind of like sidekick. So I think because we're dealing with teenagers in the mix, that's what really kept my attention with this movie. If it was just like a regular adult that was the hacker, I don't know. I'm not really sure if I would have been that interested in the movie as much as I was because it was teenagers. So War Games, really enjoyed it. Although with the 4K transfer, didn't really blow my mind, I gotta say, kind of just like an average transfer, but I enjoyed the movie, so I'm happy I finally watched it. Now, let's go to Reality Bites. So this movie came out in the 90s, and this is from, I think, 1994. Does it say on here? I'm looking for the date or the year because that does matter in what I'm going to say. Yes, 1994. So the reason why I'd never seen Reality Bites, even though huge Winona Ryder fan, this came out in 94. I was only 14. So the target audience for this movie is clearly like young mid 20s, and I wasn't there yet, you know what I'm saying? I was more focused on like the high school, movies taking place in high school and stuff like that. Like I wasn't interested in the issues and problems that they're going through in Reality Bites, because what's happening in this movie is that pretty much this is post graduation from college, and you don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're doing. You don't know where you're going. You're trying to figure out your life. And Winona Ryder and Janine Garofalo, they're roommates. And Ethan Hawke here is in the friend group with Steve Zahn. They're all friends. There's kind of like a little budding romance here, but then she meets Ben Stiller's character. And then this turns into, kind of like a love triangle thing. So I don't know, in high school when I was 14, I just wasn't really like into a movie like that. But now that I'm older, and I have gone through this stage of life, totally relatable. Totally relatable, because I remember back in the day, I graduated from college, and you just kind of fall back into what you know. You don't really go off to pursue your dreams right away. Like I certainly did not do that. And I fell on, old habit, so to speak. Totally relatable. So this was a fun watch. Reality Bites pretty much defined that moment in the 90s. And I think it continues to do so, actually, because it is so relatable. You know, young 20s and mid 20s can watch this movie and you're going through it, the exact same thing. So really enjoyed this watch as well. That made sense, right? I hope so. All right, next up. Adventures in Babysitting. Can you believe I've never seen Adventures in Babysitting? The best opening to a film ever. Okay, it's like Elizabeth Shue in her room getting ready for her date night with her boyfriend, and she's dancing and singing along to this song that she has playing. It's so good. It's just so good. And then her date gets canceled, and so she decides to babysit, and then she proceeds to have the night from hell. Pretty much nothing goes right at all. So fun. This movie is pure fun. I was laughing. It's just a great time. So Adventures in Babysitting. I mean, it's pretty much her babysitting nightmare in a nutshell. That's all I got to say. That's it. Sums everything up. Great movie. Cannot wait to watch it again. So fantastic. All right, now we have Wildcats with Goldie Hawn. I really enjoyed this movie too. I wanted to throw in like a sports movie, so I chose this one. Goldie Hawn in this film, her dream is to coach football, and she gets her chance, but what she doesn't realize is that I think the superintendent or something like that decides to send her to the worst high school in the district to coach football. And so none of them want to listen to her because she's a woman. She doesn't know what she's talking about. She's just a girl, and that's it. She doesn't know anything. And it turns into like a real underdog story, because they start to accept her, and then there's like that relationship bond between players and coach, and so it turns out really nice. So this was a nice surprise. I did enjoy Wildcats. Plus you have Woody Harrelson as one of the football players, and Wesley Snipes as well, so that was also nice to see. So I did enjoy Wildcats. All right. Now, this movie I have seen. It just has been so long. Romy and Michelle's high school reunion. I hear they're doing a sequel. I don't really know if a sequel is necessary. Like, what are we doing? Like the 30th or 40th reunion? Like, I'm not really sure. It's going to be interesting to see where they go with a sequel if they do decide to do one. But I mean, this movie, again, it's just fun. It's ridiculous fun. It is so 90s with the outfits that they wear and everything. I think this came out in like 97 or 98. I remember it was towards like the time when I was graduating high school. So it was kind of like correlating during that time period. But again, great revisit. Awesome fun. Awesome fun. Big. I have seen Big, but again, I have not seen it in a really long time. And this, again, fun. I'm going to use fun for like all of these because that's what the 80s and 90s were. They were just fun. Like every single movie was a good time. But Tom Hanks in this film was perfect casting. Absolutely perfect casting. I cannot imagine another actor stepping into this role and just having the embodiment of an inner child where he's like, what, 13 years old, but he looks like an adult. I mean, Tom Hanks nailed this. I think he was nominated for an Oscar for this, if I'm remembering correctly. Totally deserved. Totally deserved if he did, because he's just incredible in this movie. And so, again, just a lot of fun. Just a lot of fun. Having the 80s and 90s nostalgia was a great excuse to revisit Big again. And I'm so happy because it's been at least like 15 years or so. All right. Ladybugs. Who remembers Ladybugs? You probably could not make this movie today, and that's okay. And that's the brilliancy of the 90s, because yes, this came out in the early 92. This one came out in 1992. I remember going to the theater to see Ladybugs, and because of Jonathan Brandis, because Jonathan Brandis was it back in the day. Unfortunately, we lost him way, way too early. But like Rodney Dangerfield, absolutely hilarious. And so, again, it's fun. Again, it's fun. That's it. Moving on. Moving on. It's about a soccer team, and Jonathan Brandis is on the team, and he's like, you know, cross-dressing in the movie to be on the all-girls team. It's a ridiculous plot line, but it's just a good time. I'll switch it up and say a good time instead of fun. It's a good time. All right. Next up. Roxanne, starring Steve Martin and Daryl Hannah. It has been a while since I've seen anything with Daryl Hannah, so that was nice to see her on my screen again. Steve Martin, interesting. Interesting is what I gotta say, because he plays a character in this movie. He's just like the biggest goofball in town, but he's also like the head of the volunteer fire department, and obviously he is our Cyrano de Bergerac character. That is what, you know, Roxanne is based off of, the original Cyrano de Bergerac, where Steve Martin has this obnoxious prosthetic nose. It is so long, but I mean, that's the thing, you know, that's like the entire gag in the movie. See, there we go, there's the nose. So he's kind of like the outcast just a little bit, but like the local town has embraced him, you know, because they know the nose is there, you know, like they've gotten over it. Of course, a few people, you know, snicker, you know, and things like that still, but overall people accept him for who he is. He definitely uses his humor as a shield. And so it's just an interesting, different character for Steve Martin to play. And I didn't realize that he was very involved in this movie. I think he wrote it. Yeah, he wrote the movie, also produced it. So that was definitely a bonus. I will say, though, that the prosthetic nose at times was bothering me while watching this, because it seemed like the nose was a different color. It was very slight, but noticeable. There was a few times it was just really bothering me. I'm just like, it looks super, super fake. I just wish they tried to match it up just a little bit better. I could be wrong. Maybe this is just me talking, but did anyone else notice that with this movie with Roxanne, where his prosthetic nose was just like the wrong color and it just didn't match up very well? I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I mean, this is a great romance film. You know, probably I'd say top 50 romance films of all time. I wouldn't put in like the top 20 or 25. Top 50? Yeah, definitely. But that's a good one. That's always a good option as well. All right. Speaking of Rodney Dangerfield, oh my gosh, we got Back to School. I used to love this movie back in the day. So this is another, I have seen it, but not for at least like 20 years kind of thing. So because of that, it goes into the never seen it pile. My dad loves this movie. And this holds memories for my father and I, because when I was younger, my dad would have this movie on and we would watch it together, or we'd watch it as a family, and we would always be laughing. My dad laughs hysterically with Rodney Dangerfield. When it comes to this guy, he absolutely loves him. So this was just a pure like oh my gosh, I'm messing up right now. I'm just going to say a pure nostalgia trip because that's what it was for my dad and I. We watched it together. My mom watched it too, and it was just a great time. So you can't go wrong with Back to School. That was a fun one. Fun, again, fun. Speaking of fun, Encino Man. Encino Man. Oh my gosh. I cannot even tell you how long it's been since I watched Encino Man. Probably 25 years. How embarrassing is that? It's really embarrassing. But I picked up the DVD from Walmart. I ordered it online for like $3.96 or something. I ordered this one, and like Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. I ordered like 3 different like nostalgia DVDs, and Encino Man was one of them. I mean, I think the movie speaks for itself. I mean, we all know what Encino Man is. I just love Pauly Shore. Like, I'm like just discovering that, like, I love, it's such a shame that like he kind of faded out. He's still in Hollywood, but not as prominent as he was back in the 90's. And oh my God, like he's just so hilarious in this movie. I mean, my favorite movie of Pauly Shore's is Son-in-Law. It always will be. I absolutely adore that movie through and through. But him and Encino Man cracks me up too. And to see Brendan Fraser, and it's just so awesome. So Encino Man, love it. Always having a good time with Encino Man. All right, now we've got Mannequin 2 on the move. So I'm sure a lot of you have seen the first Mannequin movie because that was like an 80's classic. Was that 80's? Maybe early 90's? Somewhere in there. But the first Mannequin film was with Kim Cattrall. She was the mannequin, and Andrew McCarthy. And back in the day, I used to swoon for Andrew McCarthy. Like, I just thought he was just the best. Absolutely. I had many crushes back in the day, but Andrew McCarthy definitely was one of them. So to see him in such a romance movie, I was just like falling over for him. So then there was a sequel, Mannequin 2 on the Move. Now, neither one of those actors came back for this movie, but we do have Kristy Swanson as the brand new mannequin. And of course, we know her as the original Buffy from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the movie. And so that's a lot of fun. That's a lot of fun. And there's also, what's his name? William Ragsdale, I believe, plays the love interest to her in the film. But I mean, this movie does not live up to the iconic brilliantness of the original film. Does that make sense? I think so. But you know what? It's okay. It's all right. It's a guilty pleasure. I would put this into like the guilty pleasure category, definitely. All right. Now we've got Excess Baggage. So this is a true never seen it. If you heard that, I apologize. It's summertime, music, cars right outside my window. So this is a true never seen it. I've never seen Excess Baggage before. We have Alicia Silverstone. And back in the 90's, we know Alicia Silverstone was it. She was the girl. The Aerosmith videos and then Clueless, and she just hit majorly. Also The Crush, my personal favorite of hers. So that's why I picked up Excess Baggage, because I was curious about this movie because of her. And then also we have a young Benicio del Toro. Pretty much what this movie is about, Alicia Silverstone's character, she's kind of like a bratty rich girl, and she's organizing like her own kidnapping. So she's like, putting up like her own ransom for herself because her father is so rich. She's doing this for her father's attention because she knows that her dad doesn't really love her, like doesn't really pay attention to her. So she's desperate and she's doing anything. Meanwhile, like right in the beginning of the movie, she's putting herself in the trunk of her car in a random parking garage. And what happens? Benicio del Toro plays a character that steals her car while she's in the trunk. And so therefore, the movie begins and what happens with these two and her father. You're just going to have to watch the movie for yourself. Christopher Walken is also in the movie, so that's a bonus right there. So I really enjoyed Excess Baggage. Not as good as like The Crush or Clueless, because Clueless is iconic, as we all know, but I still really enjoyed the film. All right, we're almost done. We got 4 more movies, guys. So the next couple of movies, fantasy, the fantasy category. Willow. I made it a point to watch Willow because I'd never seen this movie before at all. Growing up during this time period, how did I never see Willow? I think the reason why is because it is fantasy, and fantasy is a genre that is not a natural go-to for me. So because of that, I just never seen Willow. So when I decided upon 80s and 90s nostalgia, I definitely wanted to watch Willow. I made it a priority. Also, Val Kilmer's in the movie. That's another reason why, because we just lost him as well. And so I really enjoyed this film. It surprised me because, like I said, fantasy is usually like not really my cup of tea. Sometimes I find it kind of boring just a little bit, but not this movie. This movie kept my attention the entire way through. I just loved it. Absolutely loved it. So, Willow, needed for your collection, and I highly enjoyed it. Now we've got another fantasy with Rumpelstiltskin. This one was sent over to me from a subscriber, and I've said this before, I vaguely remember this movie from back in the day when I was growing up. At least I thought so. From looking at the front cover, I thought I remembered this movie, but as I was watching it, it was like, maybe I don't remember this movie. It was fine. It was fine. It was all right. Definitely falls into the fantasy category of not really my thing. I gotta be honest. But you know what? I'm gonna keep it. I will keep it. Maybe I will circle back around to it. I certainly do appreciate the person that sent this over. But you know, not every movie is going to be a home run. It happens. It's okay. I'm not going to get rid of it. As of right now, I am going to keep it. And like I said, I'll circle back around to it, but I just wasn't overly thrilled with it. It was kind of just like a basic movie. And I know I said like basic is like really, really good, but this one just seemed like too basic. You know what I mean? Like there could have been like other factors to kind of like, you know, get the movie going, because the movie is short. It's only 84 minutes long. And usually I say around the 90-minute mark is the sweet spot, but I don't know. I feel like with this film that there were some things that were lacking just a little bit. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend this movie to you guys, but you know, you never know. If you like Rumpelstiltskin, then you may want to check it out. If you like the character of Rumpelstiltskin, I don't know. Okay. So we are down to the final 2, and usually the final 2 are the movies that I don't really care for. But like I said earlier in the video, I did not hate anything, but some movies I just did not click with. Keep that in mind when I hold up this next movie. Don't hate me. Don't hate me. Don't hate me. Okay. All right. Didn't hate it. I did not hate it. I don't know. I kind of felt like the movie was a little bit too long. It was kind of drawn out, in particular in the third act of the film. I just felt like Hook just kept going and going and going. And how long is this? I didn't even look. How long is this? How many minutes? It is long. It's 142 minutes. That's, you know, over 2 hours. That's like 2 hours and 20 minutes. If they cut off about 20 minutes, maybe a little bit more, probably would have been okay. But I could feel the length of the film. And I don't know. I think because I did not experience this movie back when I was a child, or, you know, in the this is a 90s film. It's not 80s. Yeah, it's got to be 90s. So back in the 90s when this film came out, because I didn't see it back then, it's like I missed something. You know what I'm saying? I think viewing it as an adult, just isn't the same. Is that making sense? And also Julia Roberts as Tinkerbell, kind of annoying, just a little bit. I really wanted to like her as Tinkerbell, and I thought I heard that about her back in the day during filming of this movie, that her character was kind of annoying. I kind of agree. I really, really do. And I wanted to love her. I really did. I wanted to really like her in this film, but it just wasn't, it wasn't what I expected it to be, I guess. I don't know, because I feel like I've heard so many people rave about Hook like it's so freaking good. It's amazing. It's fine. It's fine. And you know, the story's like it's kind of like a weird complicated story just a little bit. It's not like super direct. There's like it's like bobbing and weaving. I don't know. Like it's not, I don't know. There's just different things. I'm being like, I guess, nitpicky about the movie, but I don't know. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I just wish I enjoyed it more. That's all. Simple. I wish I enjoyed it more. All right. The movie at the bottom of the pile. Cool World. What do I say about this movie? What do I say? I mean, I don't know. You got Brad Pitt, who is human, who falls into the cool world that is animated by Gabriel Byrne's character. He's created this entire world. And Kim Basinger is like the, you know, generic Jessica Rabbit character. It's like Who Framed Roger Rabbit. It's kind of like the same style where humans are incorporated with animation. And so it's kind of like a Roger Rabbit knockoff, a little bit, kind of, sort of, in a way. I don't know. But I don't know what I expected with this movie. I kind of got it for like the Brad Pitt collection. He's so young in this movie, and you can tell that it's very early in his career because his acting is like not so great. I gotta be honest. Kim Basinger is definitely the highlight of this movie, in particular when her cartoon character turns human and it's actually Kim Basinger. She definitely stands out. But it's ridiculous. This movie is totally ridiculous, and I don't know. I couldn't connect with this movie at all. And the movie's not long. It's like 90 minutes or something. 101 minutes. And I was like looking at the clock. I kept checking my phone to see what time it was, to see, you know, is it close to ending? You know, I just didn't connect with it. I'm going to keep it for now. I will probably give it another chance, but I wasn't overly thrilled with Cool World. I do have to be honest. So if you love this movie, don't hate me. Just like with Hook, don't hate me. I gotta be honest. I'm honest with my reviews. We all have different kinds of personalities. We all click with different kinds of films. And Cool World, unfortunately, just was not one of them. So that is the recent round of the Never Seen It pile. Comment down below and let me know your thoughts about any of these movies that I showed you today. Don't hate me. Don't forget to like and subscribe before you leave, and I'll see you next time.